for that $26,000 a year. So that's, again, 4 more emails. In 6 emails, I've not only paid for Gov Delivery, but paid for my salary and my whole staff's salary. And then, another 3 emails that we sent out, we felt like there were some more targets that we could go find. Hunter Ed grads that hadn't purchased a license yet. The whole message of count me for seniors that have maybe aged out and aren't being counted anymore. We said, but go ahead and buy that license and be counted. And again, we had more positive results. We made more money. So another 259 lifetime licenses sold, which was $50,000 in direct revenue. And you can see it's a machine. You just have to find the right messages to send it out, and then you get to make money. So I don't know about y'all, but I work with a lot of biologists, and they always want to see the graphs, the charts, and the science behind everything. So we went to some of our partner groups, Southwick, Brant, Gov Delivery. We worked through NSSF and RBFF, and we put some of these email things to the test to make sure that I'm not lying to you and these ROIs and everything is true. And we got funding to do all these tests and run their statistical analysis, and they found out they were good. They all communication strategies cause a lift off of a control group line. And we found out that even though those license reminders are very effective, the most effective communication strategies include other supplemental marketing messages throughout the year, whether that's events, opportunities that are, this Great Lake that's not far from here. You got to tell them about the fishing opportunities, because otherwise they're just getting told your license is about to expire. You got to tell them some good stuff too. And there's a lot of other value in being able to talk directly to your customers. You can send them news releases. You can send them season dates, regulations, newsletters. We put out fishing reports and blogs and things like that. There's also direct marketing. I don't know do you guys have license plates that you sell? So we make over $2.5 million off of selling license plates to the state of Georgia every year, and we renew on our birthdays. So happy birthday, you get to go to the DMV. And so we go sift through our license data every month, and every single one of our customers that has a birthday that month, they get an email that says, happy birthday soon, go get a wildlife tag. So we were able to direct market to our customers for reasons other than to buy a license. You can also solicit donations. You guys have a foundation. This is a perfect way to build that donation pool. You can also ask for volunteers. We also promote events. You can put your job postings. That's actually one of the most popular things that we send out through email is the job availability that we have every week. You sign up for career opportunities, you get a weekly email with all of the DNR job postings. Another thing is we get to send out big announcements. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Georgia just went to mandatory digitally game checking every animal that's a deer or a turkey. The first year that we did this, we started it in turkey season, we had 70% compliance in reporting your bird online. That was a big deal for us. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I could pull whoever had a turkey license, whoever could go legally hunt one, and could do that for the last several years, and put it directly into your email box and say, hey, this year there's something new. You got to go online and check that turkey or call it in or whatever. So 70% in first turkey season. And we're still working on the numbers for deer, but we had a great number in our game check, so I feel like it's going to be over 50. New app. We got a new app. We worked with Brant to develop an app. And in less than a year, we've had over 200,000 downloads. That's because I can go straight into your inbox and say, download me, I got a cool app. When you have regulation changes or new laws or new seasons or anything like that, it's such a value to be able to talk directly to your customers. So, in conclusion, email marketing works. We make at least $500,000 each year through Gov Delivery, not through the Brant reminder emails, through Gov Delivery. And it's just invaluable to be able to communicate with your customer directly. So any questions?
Yes, Jenifer. Thank you very much. That's super interesting. What Georgia, just for clarification on when the license prices, Georgia is a DNR, so you have
Correct.
more than just wildlife and fisheries. You've got parks and
I do only wildlife.
I know, but the funding part is not just license sales. You get money from the state legislature.
We are set up, we got, I think it was a little over $1 million more than what we actually sold in licenses last year other than federal funding
For the whole DNR.
for my wildlife resources division.
Right, but I'm talking about for the entire DNR. It's just a different animal than
Sure,
what
it is.
Tennessee
It's absolutely. It's a big, huge umbrella office.
So, right. What is you handle this? What's your background? What's your?
I'm a marketing major. I came out of
Okay.
retail sales though. I'm a
But
sales
your background is a marketing person. Anybody?
But
else
I'm a
have
hunter and an angler, number
well,
one.
That's good. That helps. Any other questions? Bill Swan.
Yes, the campaigns that you've talked about that were created, were those your brainstorms?
Sure. Well, it's me, and I work with several people that are very
Yeah.
talented. I have a team. I'm very blessed to have a whole marketing team in the state of Georgia. We don't have an information and education branch as much as we have a marketing and communications, more public affairs. We're more, you better go make some money for us instead of go educate, the public.
Yeah. Now, on your 19 million emails you sent last year, do you know what % open rate you had?
Open rate, overall, we have an almost 30% open rate.
That's good.
Yeah, so if you don't put fluff in people's inboxes, they open your emails. If you send them what they want to see, they open your emails.
Chairman Woodson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quick question, I'll
Yeah.
follow up on that. So y'all are sending out over 1 million emails at what frequency, and you've got an 80% click rate?
No, not 80%.
Okay, I was like, wow,
It's
that would
almost
be
30% open. So almost 30% of those emails that get sent out get open. So we sent out 19 million emails last year. I may have sent you 40 emails last year. I don't know. But out of that 1.2 million that are in our database total, we sent multiple emails to those people. Now, when do I hit up the whole list? Never. Because it's never appropriate for me to hit up the whole list, because some people are like bird watchers. They don't need to hear about hunting regulations. Some people are, they're only in it for parents stuff. They're parents' corners, so they don't need to hear that we just started Georgia Game Check.
Totally agree. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And so I got one. Thank you so much for your
Sure.
presentation. This is great. Totally agree. And some of the questions we have in terms of the potential for services that the agency might need relate around how many emails are you actually sending out at a time? And obviously, if you were, which you would recommend we wouldn't, I would agree, you're not sending out 1.3 million at a time. You're sending out very discrete, targeted,
Yes.
micro to the individual types of messages. Okay, so that's one. A couple of questions on, and just to put a finer point on the funding difference, just because our partners in the public and Tennessee citizens are watching us, do you want to make sure it's really clear? There's general fund resource for y'all's agency, which is, there's a big difference between the fees that you all have versus Tennessee, and that would raise my question, where a citizen who didn't know the difference between Georgia's setup and ours. So I
Sure.
just want to make sure that if anybody needs further clarification
Yes,
on it, there's a
definitely
big
two separate
difference in-
setups.
Y'all have got tobacco settlement money and other things, and so it's a
Sure.
very different funding model. So a couple of questions on you said you sent to the over 5-year folks that were lost. How many supplemental messages are you sending out? Are you sending it to that group, or is it just all the micro audiences, depending on the issue, depending on the message? Just
So
trying to get a sense of
This
the
is where we
frequency.
pull from a customer database. We don't, we go to our customer database, see what the license data says, and pull a list of people that we then go drop into GovDelivery and then send to that list. So we look at their actual license purchasing behavior, and we said, heck, we hadn't talked to them in 5 years. What could it hurt?
Yep.
And by golly, we sold some more licenses. So,
That's very helpful. Thank you.
anything else? Yes, Bill.
Mr.
yes.
I got a question down here. Commissioner Garden.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the presentation. And I was wondering if y'all First of all, when you get the email address, it's through the license purchase mostly, right?
Yeah, that's the main way that we get
Okay.
emails.
Is that a mandatory field?
For us, it's hard to not give it. You can not give an email, but we give such a benefit for you to give us your email because if you do, we email you the copy of your license, so then you have it in your inbox forever. Our game wardens will take that as a license, so you don't ever have to have a piece of paper with you. So there's a lot of benefits tied to giving us your email.
Right.
And so over 50% of our customers are giving us their email.
Right, so along with that, do you track your percentage of unsubscribe after the fact?
Yes, of course. So that's always less than 0.5%. If we ever got towards 0.5%, I would start thinking about, okay, what am I doing to make these people that angry that I have made them want to not trust me with their email anymore?
Okay, and one last thing, the 70% of turkeys reported that was on that slide, is that 70% of the turkeys that were reported were done via electronically, or 70% of turkeys harvested were done electronically?
So we do a harvest data survey through DUDA. I don't know if you guys do harvest reports through like Responsive Management or an outside company. Okay, so we do that through DUDA, and the number of turkeys that they said harvested went to, compared to our game check system, what was reported to us, we got 70% of the turkeys that were harvested through the participation data.
Thank you.
So that's your first year to do that?
First
So
year.
you're happy to 70%?
Heck yeah.
Hoping
Oh
to get
man,
100.
that was awesome.
I would like for you to, and you covered some of this, but I'd like for you to tell me why, when you're a marketing major, why would you not go with Constant Contact and elect to go with Gov Delivery? What do they give you besides security that's different from somebody else that might be less money?
Unlimited emails. We sent out 19 million emails last year. I couldn't do that with Constant Contact because that would make their pricing go like this, and I need a fixed price. So I set a budget, and this much goes to Gov Delivery, and it's always more value for me because I send out a lot of emails. I couldn't tell you right now what the price would be for Constant Contact or MailChimp or any of the dozens of services out there, but I know it's going to be a lot more than we pay for Gov
Do they provide
Delivery.
you with templates or
Yes.
or something to help you design your emails
Yes.
so they don't all look the same and they're
Yeah, so I look like Georgia DNR when I come into your inbox. Absolutely. They
Okay.
give you templates. You can send them a design, and they will make that template for you. It's very easy to work with.
good. Commissioner Swan, you got another question?
I do. They also manage your email list for you, I presume,
Yes.
based on breakdown of interest and so forth. One question I've got, you said that you send regulations and so forth out. By doing this, have you been able to decrease the number of booklets that you print with hunting guides?
Yeah, so we decreased last year another 30%, and I see that trend
How much
continuing.
did that save? Do you know?
Well, right now we're in a contract with JF Griffin, so it's the same amount every year.
Yeah.
So after that contract ends, I know we'll be able to go back and renegotiate that.
So
for sure.
do you ever see a point in time where all the regulations just be sent out as a PDF?
Don't you think? I would absolutely think so.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, it's my recollection that when thank you, Jenifer, so much.
Sure, thank you.
We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Very much, and the gentleman from Brant also. It seems to me, and somebody might help me remember, it seems to me that the Retention Recruitment Committee voted to recommend the marketing from Brant. The Gov Delivery we have not addressed, and I suppose, Madam Chairman, that you would like a recommendation or not from the Retention Committee today. I would. All right. Do I hear a second? Got a second from Commissioner Box. Any other discussion, any other questions or input from the commission or the audience or anybody on the committee? Yes, sir.
Is this on Gov Delivery?
Don't Gov Delivery email. This is not, we're not, and by the way, it's a $40,000, as you remember the proposal, it's a $40,000 annual expense to be with Gov Delivery, $39,950 or something like that. So now we do have budgeted money that for some other things that we're not using anymore, so, I don't think we have to have a budget expansion to do this. This is a reallocation of funds. So any other questions or input? Yes, ma'am.
I think it's more just a question. I was not there, the committee meeting, and didn't see the exact action was on a specific vendor. I will say that I'm uncomfortable making any recommendation to direct the agency to go with a particular vendor. I think it's probably a practice we should caution ourselves against, because whether it's RFP or due diligence, and they may be ready to make a recommendation, and by the way, this is no reflection on Brant, who's outstanding, or any other vendor that we might have. That's not something I've ever done in any body that I've been a part of, and that really seems like an ultimate agency decision on governmental protocols and all those kinds of things. And so I just want to caution, it's one thing to say, hey, we really want to be aggressive about digital strategies. And so I just might make the comment, I'm a little uncomfortable directing to a vendor and would caution us from that kind of direction.
That's a very good point. I think the Brant part of it is already in contract, so we don't have to worry about that part. But the gov delivery as a sole provider would be a question for legal or someone with the agency. So I suppose the proper motion would be to proceed with our approval to move in this direction, I suppose, instead of just saying, naming gov delivery as the vendor, and let them work through whether it can be a sole provider or an RFP or whatever.
Yeah, pending approval by the legal department. That's what I said earlier, you just didn't hear it.
Okay.
And so just very quickly on clarification, this would be a recommendation from the Property and Infrastructure Committee.
Retention and Recruitment.
Sorry, I apologize, I've got that committee on my brain. On Retention and Recruitment Committee for what again, exactly?
I think the motion is to move forward with an email service, like gov delivery, whether you say that or not in the record. I think that the proposal is, if it can be a sole contractor, that would be my preference. But I think Commissioner Swan, I suppose your motion is to move forward with this,
Absolutely.
with this type of product to produce revenue for the agency.
Absolutely.
Is that what you understand? Any other questions?
That's what I said.
For the, okay, go ahead. For the committee.
No, I just said, that's what I said in the original motion. You
All
just
right,
didn't
for
hear
the
it.
committee only vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The Brant portion of it, Madam Chairman, I believe was already voted on, and Commissioner Stroud or Swan, somebody remind me, is that correct? Did we take a vote on the Brant marketing part?
Yes, I believe so. I believe we did it when the we took the funds from the TV program and moved them over to the Brant proposal.
Madam Chairman, the Retention Recruitment Committee recommends, and I move approval of the marketing contract, or portion of the contract with Brant Marketing to do the digital marketing for the agency.
I think because it's a budget issue, and so if y'all, I just want to make sure I've got my, in fact, the Retention and Recruitment Committee doesn't necessarily make budget decisions. I also understand that whatever decisions related to this contract, and I'm going to pass over to Director Carter. So one, funding decisions go through Budget Committee, but the recommendation is heard loud and clear on both this and the previous action. In terms of the recommendation on the subject matter, it would then go to the Budget Committee, which we actually have this on Budget Committee as a point of information. I understand that there are funds available who were already appropriated for another purpose that were not needed, and that it is available to use for this. And so literal action from the Budget Committee or Commission is not required. And then and if I understand that correctly, but to the extent that there's budget action, that'll go through the Budget Committee if it's required, or if there's a conversation related to budget. Director Carter, do I have that right?
One little caveat there. The money that was budgeted for the television show is in this current year's budget, and it will expire June 30th. There's $175,000 unspent money because we stopped the program. There were expenses, so it was budgeted at 250. There's only 175 left. I would need to know how much money, in addition to what we're already paying through the Brandt contract, that we would be going above, so that I would know whether to come back to you with a proposed budget expansion or how we would do that. And there's two options. One's a budget expansion if we're above the 175,000 for both of these programs. So 45 or 40 for the whatever system winds up being the email delivery system. That would be the 40,000. And 40 from the 175 is somewhere like 130, I guess, 35 something. So anything above that, we would have to either come back to you in August when we do the budget preparation and just include that in the budget that we present to you then, which would go into effect immediately, or we could do it at the July meeting and go that route. So I guess all that being said, what I need to know is how much money we're actually talking about for the two together.
Got it. So, thank you, and thank you for that explanation, which was excellent. I'm not sure I'm fully grasping all of it, and so if it works for everybody, because it's a budget matter, and we do have it on the agenda for the budget committee, would it be all right if we took up the budget matter during the budget committee, understanding that the retention and recruitment committee's made the subject matter recommendation on the issue? I just think it's a deeper discussion, and I don't know exactly what preceding this meeting, I understood that we weren't going to require action from the budget committee, that it was internal, but what I think I hear you say is you actually may need concrete authorization for something, and I'd like to have that during the budget committee so Commissioner Holbert can vet that issue in his committee, unless there's an objection.
Madam Chairman, no, that sounds fine. I think the direction that perhaps the director's looking for is that Brandt has asked for $250,000 in addition to the 100 that they expect to get from the hard cards, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Now, my understanding is that we don't have to do the 250. We could do 200 plus 100, but to maximize statewide and to really do it correctly, that's what the ask is. Now, we could start off with a lesser amount. That's a discussion for the commission that we could have right now about what everybody feels like the return and the investment, or we could think about it until the budget committee and then talk about it. But I think he's looking for direction about how much money we're going to need. So we're going to need investment in the marketing, and we're also going to need gov delivery.
Got it. So one, definitely an issue then for the budget committee, for sure. Whether or
Right.
not the budget committee wants to act on it now or August will be business that the budget committee will take up. Is there objection to that as a path forward? I do not think that this is a conversation the full commission should be having right now.
Perhaps, but I would really like to.
Because it's not before us properly.
Right, okay. I would really like to see us put this to bed today to try to get
And
something
I'd really
done.
appreciate that. It will go to the budget committee, and if there's action from the budget committee can make a recommendation.
Is that right, Director? Is that, will that take care of you?
It will, and to be exact, with the money we have budgeted now, if we're going to the full extent with Brandt and assume that we have the $40,000 cost figure for whatever email delivery, we would need to expand the budget by $115,000 as of July the 1st.
Okay. Well, I think this program it's the first thing that I've seen that we can track and get a return on both retention, recruitment, and dollars. And they have a track record with 3 or 4 other states. The Gov Delivery's got a track record, and I think the returns look good. I mean, if we could get our money back and talk to people just to start with, it looks like to me is a good deal. But if we can get $3 and $4 and $5 and $6 to the return on 6 to 1 return, I think it's a no-brainer. So I hope we can do this pretty quickly. And that's all we have, Madam Chairman. Excuse me, Commissioner Baker.
Yes, can I speak? I'm not, okay. We're in-
No, go ahead.
I got a question to the Brandt guys. You know, we own, as an agency, we basically own this list of information. And when you did this deal at the, back before, is today the first time that you came and said that if we got a $5 card, you're getting $4 and we're getting $1? We've known that before?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the best deal you're doing with everybody? I'm a contractor. I'm used to negotiating. I'm just asking.
Well, yeah, yes, sir, that's standard across the thing. We know that these, that all these agencies talk to each other. We're not here to make anything different between states.
Okay. All right. I mean, because I looked at it, like if you're doing on the 16% deal and we have 1.3 million, you get about $800,000 for making the card for our state.
Also, we don't charge you any change orders either. We do a lot of software investment. So, I mean, from a contractor perspective, I'm sure when a requirement changes on you, you probably come back and see some difference in your costs. We're in a 10-year contract with no cost differences there too, so.
But just to be clear, we're probably not gonna sell $1.2 million hard card, 1.2 million hard card.
I don't.
No. We're gonna sell 16% is what he said.
Okay.
That's what we've seen in some other states, yes, sir. It
Well,
takes a
about
couple of years to get
200,000.
there.
So we're up to about 70,000 right now.
And
Yeah, but he's saying we're gonna sell 208,000.
That's good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm just trying to see if we can get another dollar out of them. I'd like to get 400 out instead
we-
of 200. We don't even have to do a budget expansion.
All right,
sir.
we need to move along. Commissioner
Okay.
Swan.
I've got to say that these two programs take us from the dark ages of marketing, of running newspaper ads, of running magazine ads, TV programs, TV ads. It takes us into the digital marketing age, and that's where the money is made now. And I guarantee you we'll have the return on investment from what I've seen. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, that's all we've got.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If that will go back into full commission, let me make sure I've got the right pages together here as we flip. We will now go to the business from the Fisheries and Management Committee. Frank Fiss, if you'd go ahead and join us. Commissioner King, I'll go ahead and recognize you on the action from the Fisheries Committee on Proclamation 1708.